Welcome to my presentation. I chose to do my research project on comprehensive sex education, specifically how people felt about it, what they knew about it, and whether they believe it should be taught in schools in the United States. What is comprehensive sex education? Comprehensive sex education goes deeper than teaching the basic birds and the bees talk. Comprehensive sex education is an education with the goal to teach youth from young children to teenagers how to utilize skills to have healthy relationships, healthy sexual lives, understand consent and personal boundaries, recognize and prevent sexual assault, and be emotionally intelligent. After conducting my research, I've found just how important this topic really is. In order to find people's opinions on comprehensive sex education, I first helped to create a survey that was distributed online across the U.S. In total, there were 512 participants that answered my question, "To what extent do you agree with the following statement? Comprehensive sex education should be required in all schools across the U.S." From this survey, the majority, 53.5% of the total participants responded with "somewhat agree" that comprehensive sex education should be taught. This survey showed me a lot of different responses from a diverse group of individuals. However, I decided to focus my research on 3 demographics in particular: age cohorts, highest level of education, and importance of religion in an individual's daily life. My hypotheses with choosing these were that younger generations would be more likely to agree, more educated folks would be more likely to agree, and more religious individuals would be more likely to disagree. To test this, I made crosstabs for each demographic in SPSS and looked at the percentages of the columns. What I found was that there was little variance in answers due to educational status or religion. However, when looking at age, my hypothesis was close to correct. For those who answered strongly disagreed, there were 1.7% of Gen X folks and 4.5% of boomers, while younger generations had 0%. Although I was correct, these differences were very minute. The survey gave me moderately helpful statistics, but interviews gave me what I really wanted from this research, which was to hear not just people's opinions on comprehensive sex education, but their personal experience with sex education. Me and my 3 other amazing group members each conducted 3 interviews from our fellow classmates. With this, I got a total of 12 responses to my questions. What are your thoughts or opinions about comprehensive sex education being taught in schools? And tell me about your personal experience with comprehensive sex education. After coding the transcriptions, the 4 common themes I found in all of the responses were support for comprehensive sex education to be taught in schools, feeling that current sex education or previous experience with sex education was lacking or not adequate, sex education that was learned was abstinence only or abstinence based, and teachings of very basic female/male anatomy, periods, puberty, and STIs/STDs. Several respondents spoke about their very limited knowledge they got from sex education in school, and many also felt that the current sex education doesn't teach enough by saying things like, "It's definitely something that needs to improve as far as how in-depth it's being taught. Some things were kind of just brushed over and not just gone into depth enough. It wasn't the best experience," or "My school didn't really teach me a lot, like I didn't really learn that much." When looking at all the statistics and interview responses, it showed me that the majority of people that participated were in support or had positive opinions regarding comprehensive sexual education. I feel that this research could have been improved in a few ways. One way I could have been able to get more in-depth responses would be in the survey if I was able to ask more questions pertaining to my topic. I was only allowed to ask one question about whether people believed comprehensive sex education should be taught. This doesn't give me a whole lot to work with. In future studies, I would maybe ask surveyors if they had sex education taught to them and whether they felt it was adequate. When it came to the interviews, all of our interviewees were other classmates. I think that I could have gotten more interesting results if I had interviewed a more diverse group, such as non-students, older folks, people who are in different study areas, etc. When I first started this project, I was just trying to see whether different people believed comprehensive sex education should be taught or not, but once I really got into doing the research, I found that a lot of people weren't satisfied with the quality of sex education they received. It made me really interested in learning more about how sex education has changed or progressed in time. For example, we didn't use content analysis for this project, and I thought it would be interesting to look at old videos or educational movies used in schools to teach sex ed. Overall, I was pleased with the results of this project, and it's inspired me to maybe continue working with this topic to deepen my research.